You know, sometimes a single moment, a small act of courage, can change the world. Today, we're talking about how one woman on a bus didn't just change her own day, she ended up changing the course of American history. This is the incredible story of Rosa Parks.
All right, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll look at the world she grew up in. Then, we'll zoom in on the one decision that changed everything. After that, we'll see how a whole city stood up for justice, how the fight went to the courts, and finally, why she's remembered as the mother of a movement. So, to really get why her story is so important, we have to travel back in time. We need to understand the world she was born into, a world that was, by law, deeply and fundamentally unfair. From the time she was a little girl, Rosa saw this unfairness everywhere. The school she went to, for instance, was just for African American kids, and it had way fewer resources. The buildings were older, the books weren't as new. These kinds of experiences showed her, from a very young age, just how unequally society treated people. Now, this wasn't just people being unkind to each other. This separation was written into the law. They were called Jim Crow laws, and they were all about enforcing racial segregation. We're talking separate water fountains, separate waiting rooms, and, you guessed it, separate sections on buses. The whole system was built to treat one group of people as less than another. Okay, so with that picture in mind, let's get to the single moment that would send ripples across the entire country. So on this particular day, Rosa Parks, a seamstress, gets on a bus to go home. But here's a key detail a lot of people miss. She wasn't just a seamstress. She was already a dedicated activist, the secretary for her local chapter of the NAACP. So when that bus driver told her to give up her seat, her refusal wasn't just random. It was a conscious choice from someone who knew the rules and was ready to challenge them. And for that, she was arrested. And that's why this quote is so powerful. She wasn't just talking about being physically tired after a long day of work. She was tired of the injustice. As an activist, she'd been fighting this stuff for years. She was tired of being treated like a second-class citizen. So her quiet no was actually a very loud and clear statement that things had to change. But her arrest? That wasn't the end, not even close. In fact, it was just the beginning of something huge, a powerful unified response from her entire community. So what's a boycott? Well, it's a form of protest where a whole group of people decides to stop using a service to demand change. In this case, community leaders asked every African-American citizen in the city of Montgomery to stop riding the buses. The idea was simple: hit the bus company where it hurts, financially, to force them to end segregation. Now, just look at this number, 381. That's how many days the boycott lasted. That's more than a year. People walked to work, sometimes for miles. They organized carpools. They did this through heat, rain, and all kinds of hardship because they were united in their cause. It's an incredible display of determination. And it was during this boycott that a new, powerful voice emerged, a young minister named Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He became the face of the movement, and his powerful speeches inspired everyone to protest peacefully. His message was absolutely clear. We can fight for justice without resorting to violence. His leadership was key to keeping everyone focused and strong. So while thousands of people were protesting in the streets, you have to know there was another huge battle going on. This one was happening in the courtroom. See, this wasn't just about protest signs. It was a really smart legal strategy. Lawyers took the case all the way through the court system. Their argument was that forcing people to sit in different parts of a bus just because of their skin color was unconstitutional. And they kept fighting, all the way up to the highest court in the country, the Supreme Court. And here's the moment they were all fighting for. They won. In November of 1956, the U.S. Supreme Court declared that segregation on public buses was illegal. It was this massive victory that proves that peaceful protest, combined with a tough legal fight, could actually change the country. So the boycott's over. The law is changed. But what happens next? What was the real, lasting impact of what Rosa Parks did? You can really see the massive shift here. It's like night and day. Before, you had segregation and a feeling that unfair laws were just a fact of life. But after, the buses were integrated, an unjust law was struck down, and most importantly, it was solid proof that organized, peaceful protest could bring about real change. Rosa Parks rightfully earned the title, the mother of the civil rights movement. Her life wasn't easy after the boycott. She actually lost her job and had to move to Detroit. But she never, ever stopped working for civil rights.
She was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the nation's highest civilian honor, and to this day, she's a global symbol of quiet strength and dignity. In the end, Rosa Parks' story teaches us something really important, that ordinary people can do extraordinary things. Her courage proves that one person standing up for what's right can truly inspire millions. And that kind of leaves us with a question to think about, doesn't it? Where can a little bit of courage make a big difference in our world today?